getting ready to go. Second race of the weekend for the Pro Mazda Series, presented by Cooper Tires. Stout field, Rinus VeeKay, as he had said in his interview, started middle of the field. Race number 1, was able to come home victorious. Going to be potentially a little bit easier for Rinus in race number 2. He starts from the pole. Then again, David Malukas finished on the podium yesterday. 3rd place finish for him. Oliver Askew, the reigning USF 2000 champion, he finished 5th yesterday. We'll start on the inside of row number 2. Stingray Robb to his outside. Carlos Cunha had a great run yesterday. He finished 4th. Parker Thompson finished runner-up. He'll start on the outside of row number 3 again. Harrison Scott, a strong run. We'll keep our eye on him in row 4 with Robert McGinnis. Nikita Listoshkin and Ludovico Lorini in row number 5. Andres Gutierrez and Martins. Rafa Martins, row number 6. James Raven. Antonio Saravalli in row number 7. And it's Chris Wright, Charles Finelli wrapping up the field. Been a tricky day today, as we saw at the beginning of the Verizon IndyCar Series race, the Pirelli World Challenge race, Indy Lights race. Turn 1 has been a bear for all of these drivers. 16 drivers making up this Pro Mazda field. Will they be able to negotiate? Turn number 1. We thank you, race fans, for staying here. You're about to see the future of open wheel racing. Again, the second run of the Mazda Road to Indy program. This is the Pro Mazda Series presented by Cooper Tires. Field through turn number 9, making their way through turn number 10. Eyes will be on the pace car. Field beginning to bunch up. They'll start 2 by 2. See a little bit of debris, it looks like, there right at the exit of turn number 9. Not in the racing line, but if they go wide, there's another piece of debris. I don't know what had just happened, but there are 2 huge pieces of debris that either came flying off a car, not sure where they came from. We'll see if we get a green flag this time by, but as I said, that not in the racing line, but 2 huge chunks of debris we'll keep our eye on at the exit of turn number 9. Pace car in, here to call the start of Pro Mazda race number 2. The voice of the Pro Mazda Series, Rob Howden.
Thank you so much, Michael. Again, Rinus VeeKay on the pole. It'll be David Malukas off pole. Rinus VeeKay trying to win back-to-back races, being thrown the yellow flag. As you said, yellow flag. They'll hopefully get the call from the mechanics. Little bump early. Drivers off the throttle now. Again, Michael, drivers all anticipating the call. You know they were getting the radio communication from their mechanics and their engineers, but you're coming out there, you're ready to roll up, you're fired up and ready to go.
Well, it was interesting. I was watching the field roll down out of turn number 9 on the north end of the track there by Pioneer Park, and I saw just a bit of clag or debris right off the racing line. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this huge piece of debris, almost like it was a rear wing main plate or something. And that, oh, there it is.
It looks like the cowl, the front shock cowl. For Charles Finelli in the number 83. His cowl goes taken off. At least that's one of the pieces that are eventually on the racetrack. You said maybe more.
There was more. But yeah, as they were coming down that portion of Bayshore, I saw this just piece fly off, and that is indeed the cowling. There's a piece of something right there. Is that a tree? That looks like a limb, maybe.
Looks like a branch of a tree.
Came off.
Yeah, why not?
That's completely different.
But definitely one of the carbon fiber shock covers in the middle of the racetrack. Our AAM, our safety crew, quickly being dispatched to pick that up. And ideally, if they're able to get off into the right spot, they're going to be able to head on in. They don't grab the piece of branch that's there. That'll probably just get blown away by the wind when it comes through. But otherwise...
Or run over.
Or run over.
And caught underneath the car.
All right.
All right.
That'll work. So, again, 16 drivers here in the second rung of the Mazda Road to Indy. We welcome in all of you who are listening and watching live on the Mazda Road to Indy app. If it's on your mobile phone, maybe roadtoindy.tv as well. Give me some. You may be watching on the IndyCar Race Control page, Facebook Live, YouTube. Obviously, so many opportunities to be able to catch the live video, the live play-by-play that we are providing. Again, Rob Howden alongside Michael Young to give you this second out of the doubleheader for Pro Mazda. We got back-to-back races. We'll have the drivers in the USF 2000 series out to cap off what has been a fantastic weekend here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Unsure why we didn't stack them up there, but again, bringing it around here. This race, drivers getting settled in. 25 laps or 40 minutes. 25 lapper, and because we didn't go green, we're gonna knock that first lap in the books. We have a certain amount of time, so they'll put lap number 1 in the books here, and Rinus VeeKay in the number 2, the Junkos Racing entry, Jumbo sponsor machine, Jumbo Supermarkets in the Netherlands. Rinus VeeKay, a Dutch driver who made his debut last year in USF 2000, an absolutely stellar debut. Just had the consistency, ran well, found himself with race wins, but he was just always there in the top 3, top 5.
So what does this do to the drivers now? It's been over 24 hours since they've raced. They've watched everybody else go. They're antsy, and then they get debris on the track. They can't go when they want to go. You really think they're having to check themselves, hey, we need to settle down and get a good start here?
To be honest, we have drivers here that have a lot of experience. Maybe it was USF 2000, younger drivers just really wanting to get at it, get antsy, as you say. These guys have been around a long time. They've run either 1, 2, 3 years of USF 2000, whatever it may be. They're very comfortable. They'll get themselves reset. They've been doing this before for many years. It's not like they came out of playing basketball at high school and jumping into a race car. Most of these kids started racing karts at 5, 6, 7 years of age. They've run national, international level karting. These guys know what it means to get themselves mentally prepared for a race, and I think they're going to be good to go when we bring them back around. They'll go 2x2 once again. VeeKay alongside Malukas. VeeKay in the 2, Malukas in the 79. It'll be the young Florida driver, Oliver Askew, your reigning USF 2000 champion in the number 3. In the 3rd spot, Stingray Robb in 4th. Row 3, Carlos Cunha alongside Parker Thompson, the Brazilian, and the Canadian. Row 4, Harrison Scott from the UK and Robert McGuinness from New York, Nikita Listoshkin and Lodovico Larini rounding out your top 10. Here they come, Michael. We're going to go green flag racing. In fact, the green already being displayed. Everybody's stacking it up. That was an early green. Big start here for the number 10 of Harrison Scott. Harrison Scott goes to P1. They through the green very early. I think it caught everybody off guard. Let's see if they can get through cleanly. It appears that thus far, turn 1 clean. Turn 2, you hold your breath coming through here side by side. Give each other room, guys. One driver coming down pit lane, that is the number 83 of Charles Finelli. They've had mechanical issues throughout the weekend with that car. Otherwise, Michael, people getting through 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we cross our fingers for 5, 6, and 7?
They look good so far. I will say this, Harrison Scott starting on the inside of row number 4. Talk about a jump. To jump that far, and after the struggles he's had at being quick all race weekend, that's a way to get her done. So it's Scott, Askew, Parker Thompson as they crossed the starting line.
I think he pounced. I don't know what Rinus VeeKay was doing. They threw the green unbelievably early. Normally they'll line them up coming here. They were barely out of turn 14. The green flag was flying, and everybody just jumped on it. So again, a shake-up here for sure as we'll see them come around, and we'll give you the lineup. Harrison Scott for RP Motorsports Racing is your leader in that number 10. Running in second, Oliver Askew. In third, Parker Thompson. We'll go 2 wide further back. That's James Raven, and I believe Andres Gutierrez running for 7th and 8th, Michael.
Carlos Cunha and Martins going at it. That is for the 4th position. Martins will hold on to it. Cunha wants it. Nice battle going out of turn number 3. We'll keep our eyes on that battle for 4th.
I'll tell you, Harrison Scott out where he is into the lead. That is a pass there further back. You're right. I think it's Martins potentially. But here they come again through that 6-7 combination. But again, these young, we got yellow. Full course yellow again. I'm not sure why. Full course yellow on the racetrack, Michael. We'll see if something comes up when we scan around through the various video locations.
Yeah, a completely different look to race number 2. Race 1 was
Parker Thompson.
Yeah.
Parker Thompson, the number 90. Not sure what happened to Parker, but.
Well, it must have been down in turn 1 because he came across the line in 3rd place. And I saw him come down at least in 3rd place. I'm not sure what happened to him.
He was 3rd coming across the line. Parker Thompson, potentially together with the number 3 of Oliver Askew. Unsure yet what happened to Parker Thompson at this point.
Well, a very, very odd situation. Here we go as the field comes by. Let's keep our eye on the field.
Could be a transponder issue because there's Parker Thompson still there. All right. Lucky to have Jeremy Shaw behind us, kind of having a look. He's hand scoring the race as it is. So Parker Thompson still on the racetrack. Those of you fans of Parker back in Red Deer, Alberta, or Exclusive Autosport, which is based in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Indeed, not Parker Thompson. He's just following the order on live timing, but indeed on the racetrack with an issue. Some issue with the transponder on the car, so they'll have to hand score Parker Thompson. We'll make sure we make note of that as we work our way through the order.
Yeah, I thought I saw him go by. McGinnis on pit lane, currently running in the 14th position. Actually would be 15th position because they have Parker Thompson scored as 15th, but he is currently on track.
Indeed, if it was McGinnis, we may have had some kind of an issue on the racetrack, potentially debris if he got into the wall. Again, you said we saw him come down pit lane. So again, Robert McGinnis, the driver for Juncos Racing, in the number 9 into pit lane. He will be classified now 15th position. Finelli already out of the race as well after just the first couple of laps. So again, not the start we were looking for. First and foremost, the start was a little chaotic. That green flag came out very early, caught everyone off guard except for Harrison Scott, his crew getting on the radio. I'm sure giving them the screaming green, 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 what you yell into the radio for the driver to go. He got on the throttle, pulled to the inside quickly, and just started grabbing gears. So,
but both he and Parker Thompson.
Yeah.
Parker Thompson starting back in the field as well. Parker started on the outside of row 3. Harrison Scott on the inside of 4. So both guys doing a good job on the start there.
The guys at the back, the RP Motorsports racing drivers, Harrison Scott and Lodovico Lorini in the number 27, both getting great jumps. Scott goes to first, Lorini to fourth. Parker Thompson up to third, Askew in second. Rafa Martins, he started deep in the field as well. In 12th, he was able to move his way up too. So,
well, we're bringing the field down the front straightaway and onto pit lane. Curious, we red flagged the race right now. So
I have a sneaking feeling that they didn't like that start. I think that potentially they didn't like the start. I have a sneaking feeling that our race director said, you know what, that was not a fair start. We didn't like it. We're going to reset and do it again. That's unofficial. I'm not sure if indeed that is the case.
It's odd that we would be red flagging with everybody that we've at least made note of that are still on the track. There's no real sight line of anybody having a horrific incident that would cause a red flag.
So again, drivers all coming down here. We'll get the update when we know. It sounds like they may be reviewing the start under that full course caution. So indeed, yeah, it looks to me like they are going to review this. Good possibility that we may be going to a full and complete restart to order everybody back in position. We are not, that's not official. We'll wait for the call that we can get from race control. But again, all the Pro Mazda drivers have been brought back down pit lane, and we'll see what the race control elects to do here.
And it'd be nice for our own edification if they could maybe take a wrench and bang on Parker Thompson's transponder just to see if they could get that working as well. I know that's not the proper way to fix a transponder, but certainly difficult to keep an eye on Parker as he's running up there in the 3rd position, but being scored in 14th.
So again, they'll go back to the order that we started. Obviously a tough one for a couple of the drivers who got some pretty good starts there. Harrison Scott was able to see that green and get on it, as was Lodovico Lorini. Parker Thompson all getting off to great starts, but man, it stacked everybody up. They were 3, 4, 5 wide coming down the straightaway across start finish.
Oh, and you know Rinus VK screaming, hey, why are we throwing the green flag so early? That completely caught him off. But good that they all kept the rhythm because they were a mess going into turn number 1. But everybody getting through cleanly, that was really well done.
If you want to throw a positive spin on it, yeah, all 16 of these drivers were able to get through that start, through what was obviously a chaotic run down into turn number 1. 2, 3, 4, the time that we all, in this program hold our breath, the collective breath, because you know that's when the contact's going to happen. Turn 2, turn 3, just so precarious as drivers all trying for the position, but normally not giving quite enough room. They did a fantastic job to get through there, and kudos to them.
And a good call by race control, not waiting another lap or two to make that call. They were very decisive. They made that call, and that's the way to do things.
So the call now is whether or not we go back to a double file restart, or if they elect just to go single file. That's something that they could easily do. Just say, we're going to go a single file restart. We'll roll you out here in the order of 16 cars, nose to tail, and you'll go green again next time by. If that indeed that happens, Rinus VeeKay will be back at the top of the charts. David Malukas second. Oliver Askew, the number 3, in third. Stingray Robb in the 82 in fourth. Carlos Cunha in the number 1 in fifth. Parker Thompson 6th in the 90. Harrison Scott back to 7th in the number 10. Robert McGinnis. Now, whether or not McGinnis is able to repair his car at this point, he's a couple laps down. I wonder if they'd allow him to come back if it's a complete reset. Can they fix his car and get him back? That's something that would be worthy of a question down on pit lane. Nikita Lestoshin set to start in 9th for Cape Motorsports. Lodovico Larini for RP Motorsports Racing in 10th. Andres Gutierrez 11th. Rafa Martins in 12th. James Raven 13th. Antonio Serravalle in 14th. 15th, Chris Wright. 16th, Charles Finelli. We know a mechanical for Charles Finelli. He headed to pit lane. Again, the question for us, 2 questions really. Do we go single file or double file restart? And will Robert McGinnis get a chance to be back on track?
Well, and that's a tough thing for Charles Finelli, something that was not of his making. That cowling probably not tightened down before he went out, and it just took that little burst of speed there coming out of turn number 9 for the wind to get underneath there and dislodge that, and unfortunately he is sitting on pit lane. So a frustrating weekend for Charles Finelli continues.
Being told 1 minute until we fire these guys back up.
So we'll start it again. I think the best call, and of course not being the race steward, not trying to suggest anything, but a single file restart seems to be the way to go. But we will see what the call is from race control. These drivers, one of the oddest starts they'll maybe see in their open wheel career.
One of the oddest I've seen.
It's been an odd one, at least for this weekend, with the loss of that cowling on Charles Finelli, and then we throw a green flag after 1 extra pace lap and bunch the field up, and they run a lap, and then we throw a red flag, and we're starting all over again. Now I wonder how their patience is going to be, especially if you're a guy like Harrison Scott or Parker Thompson. Hey, I was all the way in the back. How are you taking these positions away from me?
Let's revisit that question, because when you ask it the first time, the answer is pretty clear.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a while. They've had to go racing again. And they had, a couple of laps rolling around because there was a caution. They're all able to handle that. You're right. You've gone from being relaxed and then from being into full race mode and then back again. That's good. If you're at least some of the younger drivers, so you're looking at a kid like Antonio Serravalle, just 15 years of age. Some of these younger drivers, 15, 16, 17, that could shake you up a little bit because you've already fired yourself up, you've been ready to go, and you've got right into it. That's a tough one.
And to add to that, you've already done this once, and you think, well, I've already gained 7 positions once. I could do it again, not realizing that all of these other extenuating circumstances have played into it. Well, Rob Howden, we will keep our fingers crossed. How does that sound? The second rung of this Mazda Road to Indy program, race number 1 was fantastic. We will get race number 2 officially underway. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we can keep it green. The field making their way through turns 13 and 14.
We'll see if it's a single file restart. I believe it probably will be single file. It'll have Rinus VeeKay out front, and that actually plays kind of into his favor because he won't have someone drag racing him down to the line. He'll eventually have some issues because they'll obviously be there in the draft. But when you go 2x2, that allows 3x3 and sometimes 4x4. Indeed, a single file start. Rinus VeeKay, the young Dutch driver, will bring him out here in the Uncos Racing number 2 entry. Here they come. And now green flag flying. Paul Blevin throwing that green. Here comes Oliver Askew looking to the inside of David Malukas. Parker Thompson down to the inside of the racetrack, further back as well. Big lock up there from the outside. One driver pushing a little bit. That, I believe, was David Malukas locking it up going into turn number 1. He's able to hold the spot. Oliver Askew sliding into that third position. Didn't force the issue in turn number 1. Drivers thus far getting through 1, 2, 3, and now we're to 4.
Very good start for Rinus VeeKay. That's what he wanted to see. We had a couple of drivers going into turns 4, 5, and 6, too wide, and they make it stick all the way through.
I like to see what these young drivers are doing right now because this is the key. Get seat time here at St. Petersburg. I've told them before, you need to get out of here without damaging your race cars. We've seen, especially in that Indy Lights race, Michael, challengers for the championship in the wall. You know, issues for Aaron Telitz, issues for Colton Herta, issues for Pato O'Ward as well, which gave Santi Urrutia the win. You got to finish here if you want to win a race.
Not sure if Cunha did it on the start, but he got around Stingray Robb, so move Cunha to P4, Stingray Robb down to P5.
We'll give you a full field rundown when they come back across the line once again. Rinus VeeKay is your leader. David Malukas again running in second. In the third spot is Oliver Askew. Fourth is Carlos Cunha. In the fifth position is Stingray Robb. Sixth spot is Harrison Scott. Seventh, again, an issue with the transponder. That's Parker Thompson. Thompson now in the 7th position. Nice
Battle with Raven there and Andres Gutierrez. They continue that battle then through turns 2 and 3.
Good start here for Rinus VeeKay. He'd like to score a couple of race wins. There's a good battle further back. That's, I think, a move for potentially 3rd or 4th. They're side by side through there, Michael.
I think that was 5th. I think Harrison Scott got around Stingray Robb.
Harrison Scott had a little taste of running up front and is on his way forward. Harrison Scott, the RP Motorsports Racing entry, 12 wins last year in the Euro Formula Open category, and he is wanting to translate that into success here on the Mazda Road. Here comes a battle into turn number 10. That's, I think, Oliver Askew.
And around the outside of Oliver Askew goes Carlos Cunha. Wow. He was not able to make it stick, but very aggressive, already picking up a couple of spots.
So both Rinus VeeKay and David Malukas able to stretch away. This is now the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and go all the way back to the end of the order. Oliver Askew pressured aggressively by Carlos Cunha, the young Brazilian driver. They'll work their way down into turn number 1 once again. Askew running the inside. There's a move to the inside as well. Aggressive. That is, I believe, Harrison Scott going to the inside of turn number 1. Michael Scott wants to get forward here. He is very aggressive. Already looking every corner. He's showing a nose. It's like I think that's Parker Thompson right there as well, right on the rear wing of Harrison Scott. That is, again, I think for the 5th or 6th spot, or that may be the 82.
I think Stingray Robb got around Harrison Scott. Yeah, exactly.
Indeed, you're right. That's the 82 getting back around.
Boy, I don't know about Oliver Askew. He had a rougher start, but he's got a whole pack of cars behind him. He wants to check out, able to gap it now about 2 car lengths. Cunha, Robb, then it's Harrison Scott. That's the battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Michael, remember, we were expecting this to be either 25 laps or 40 minutes. We're already on the clock, so it's going to be 20 more minutes, 19 and a half left. Little wide on the entry to turn number 14 for Harrison Scott. He pushes wide. Rinus VeeKay now out to almost a full second ahead of David Malukas. Askew has got Cunha right in. Look at Oliver Askew. He's driving the inside. Cunha's going to try the outside of 1. Carlos Cunha to the outside of 1. Does he get it coming through? We don't see. He does.
Wow.
Great pass for Carlos Cunha on the outside of turn number 1. Beat Oliver Askew. Look at these guys. 2 wide into 4.
Stingray Robb goes to the outside. Below him is Harrison Scott. Scott makes a move. He gets around Stingray Robb.
This is tremendous racing here in Pro Mazda. Drivers giving each other room. They were 3 wide at one point coming into turn number 4. Harrison Scott gets around Stingray Robb. Parker Thompson with front row seat watching it all unfold.
Oh, and he was stalking coming out of turn 14 as well. As he was coming down, I could see Parker's, if I could get inside that helmet, his eyes were getting big.
18 and a half still to come.
Rinus VeeKay, David Malukas, Oliver Askew falling back just a bit as Carlos Cunha makes his move forward. Here comes the field out of turn 14. Rinus VeeKay, following him is David Malukas, but here's the battle, Rob Howden.
I like it coming up the straightaway. Carlos Cunha starting to pull away. Harrison Scott as well. Here comes Parker Thompson, right up off the gearbox of Oliver Askew. Thompson down to the inside, book it. He's through. Parker Thompson taking the spot away from Oliver Askew. Askew going backwards. Last year's USF 2000 driver, the champion of the series, falling back now into, I believe, the 7th position. Parker Thompson now up into P6. If you're looking at live timing, an issue with Thompson's transponder, he currently runs in that 6th position.
Well, once we got things settled out and we went green, this has been a dynamite race. A lot of action mid-pack as we see Rinus VK checking out. He and David Malukas keeping touch with each other, but that's a great battle there. Carlos Cunha, Harrison Scott, Stingray Robb, and now Parker Thompson getting into the mix.
The leaders are checking out, and we need to look at the lap times. Look at this. David Malukas, 0.4 of a second quicker than Rinus VK. He's only 0.6 back. We're going to have a battle for the lead here, I think. And remember, we're not going 25 laps. We've only got 17 minutes remaining. So David Malukas doing everything he can to close up on Rinus VK. But that battle, I'm loving this fight now. It's, I believe, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And in fact, Stingray Robb in 5th has been able to stretch out a little bit of an advantage this time.
Oliver Askew running in 7th. And Ludovico Larini running in that 8th position. Larini behind by about 0.6 of a second. So not really in touch with Oliver Askew. There you see that battle right there. And right behind them, Nikita Listoshkin seeing a little pressure from Andres Gutierrez.
16.5 minutes remaining. Again, watching the battle. It's kind of settling down a little bit here at this point. The battle was pretty aggressive there over the, I want to say from lap 5 to about lap 10. It settled in. We'll watch drivers now having to battle with potentially tires. They're degrading a little bit. They're getting a little bit tired. This track, of course, much different than what they ran on yesterday. That's, I think, a key. Remember, they ran yesterday afternoon. We've had a full Verizon IndyCar Series race, an Indy Lights race, a PWC Pirelli World Challenge event. This track, radically different than what it was yesterday afternoon.
It looks like Listoshkin's now got on the rear wing of Martins, so that's a great three-way battle, and that is for 9th, 10th, and 11th as they make their way out of turn number 14. We'll see that battle shaping up, and indeed, Listoshkin trying to get on the rear wing of Martins.
Nikita Listoshkin in the Cape Motorsports. Number 8, the RM-sponsored car, working its way down into turn number 1. They're giving them the halfway this time by. Remember, it's a 25-lapper. We're 12 laps down, so really halfway. But, again, looking at lap times, I don't think we're going to get to the 25-lap mark. It's probably going to be a timed race. And watching what we can do here, the battle for 9th position, that's Rafa Martins in the number 80 and Nikita Listoshkin in the number 8. Last time by, pretty similar lap times, but look at the lead again. David Malukas chips out another 1/10 of a second. Malukas just slowly working his way up. Look at the damage to the front wing of the number 10 of Harrison Scott. Damage to the wing. That's the left side, the left side of the wing that's hanging down. These cars don't have overly aggressive aerodynamics with those wings, Michael, but it's going to be enough to upset the balance of the car a little bit, and I would not be surprised if we see some guys closing up on Harrison. Stingray Robb, the first driver in line.
And it might have been Stingray Robb he made contact with. They were really tight through there when they made that pass, so potential damage with Stingray Robb, not sure, but we see now the field slowly making their way down their front straightaway. That's Larini, Martins, and Listoshkin.
That's a great run right there. We've got Larini, Martins, Listoshkin, Gutierrez, Raven, and Wright essentially all running together, probably separated by maybe a 1.5 seconds across the line. That is from, I think I want to say 7th back into the 12th position. Tremendous run for these drivers here who continue to try to work their way into a position within the top 10.
Yeah, that's a great little battle right there. Martins and Larini. Now Martins starting to put pressure on Larini, and Listoshkin putting pressure on Martins. No one can make a mistake. There again, the battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Number 91 of Antonio Saravalli. He and, I believe, Charles Finelli just coming across the line.
Yeah, battle for the lead starting to shape up. It's still not great yet, but about 7 car lengths separate our leader, Rinus VK, from David Malukas.
Well, here's the thing about Malukas. Every lap, he's just chipping away a 1/10, a 1/2. Still 13.5 minutes to go. He's down to within a 1/2 second. When that draft starts to really come into play, he's going to be able to close up on VK. James Raven getting a really good run here on Andres Gutierrez coming down into turn number 1. Gets on the brakes a little bit later, a little earlier rather, and loses some of that time. But James Raven in the number 12 trying to work his way into the top 10. There's a 79 of Malukas, visually closer now in that BN Racing entry, trying to put some pressure on Arenas VK.
I don't know if you hear that knocking, but that I think is David Malukas knocking on the door of Arenas VK. He has visibly, as you said, closed that gap. VK last time by a half of a second advantage over David Malukas, but it has visibly closed as they work their way through the final portion of this track.
Interesting thing about David Malukas is he got a late start to the season last year, didn't run here in St. Petersburg, did race in Toronto, actually got into an incident going for the race lead in Toronto. He ends up being out of that race. He hasn't got a lot of street circuit experience. Arenas VK did the whole season last year, ran St. Petersburg, ran Toronto, did well. I'm really impressed right now with what Malukas is doing in that BN entry. And you got to remember, they just jumped up to Pro Mazda as well. Brand new Tatis PM18 here this year, so everybody kind of on a level playing field in terms of figuring out the setup. But BN Racing jumping up to Pro Mazda for the first time after debuting last year in USF 2000.
Well, the upside for Arenas VK is he finishes the second half of this course in fine fashion. The first half, David Malukas is all over the rear wing. A little bit better run that time for Malukas out of turn number 9. Now they make their way through the kink in between turns 9 and 10. It's Arenas VK, David Malukas, a half a second lead. That is a battle for first and second as it goes to turn 10.
Interesting thing is the actual fastest driver on the racetrack now running in the third spot is Carlos Cunha. Cunha does a 109.271, almost 0.3 of a second quicker than the leaders, but he's back by 6.8 seconds. So although the car coming in, we've got 11 and a half minutes, we actually may have an opportunity to go all 25 laps. Margin at the stripe last time by a half second, VK and Malukas. Here comes David, though, in that number 79 machine. Cunha runs in third, Harrison Scott in fourth. Fifth is Stingray Robb. Sixth is Parker Thompson. Look at this battle further back. The 27 of Ludovico Lorini. As Rafa Martins going to try to the inside of turn number 1. Book that one. He's through. Martins goes by Lorini.
And I think, Listoshkin.
Nikita Listoshkin stuck his nose in there. They were side by side coming out of turn number 1. So great battle. That is 7th, 8th, and 9th. And I don't care where you are on the racetrack. When you get drivers driving that well, battling that hard, it's super fun to watch. Great job by all three of those drivers into turn number 1.
Yeah, if we can hang on to this shot coming down Bayshore, we see Carlos Cunha there. He's currently running in the third position, but the rest of that battle is going to be massive as they make their way out of turn number 9. So we watch the field as they make their way to turn number 10. That's where the battle unfolded with Lorini, Martins, and Listoshkin. There it is right there. Boy, they're nose to tail all the way through from 7th on back.
This is hardcore racing. The drivers got their elbows up for this one. And I think James Raven trying to go to work here as well. Here they come back onto the front straightaway. Let's have a look at them as they come through. There's Parker Thompson. Oliver Askew coming across the line now in the 7th spot. 8th is Listoshkin. 9th, Martins. 10th is Gutierrez. 11th now is, I believe, Chris Wright in the other BN Racing entry. Look at further back. There's a little bit of a lockup there. That's a solid fight further back. I think that's James Raven. And Ludovico Lorini going at it. That's for what, 12th and 13th. Why not? They are racing hard. Okay, we've got the transponder fixed for Parker Thompson. They've got it up there in the 6th position.
We were doing math in our heads. That was completely difficult.
A little bit of a headache actually right now.
Very much so.
But Parker Thompson, 6th position. Looking at lap times, Carlos Cunha back to a 109.5. He did a 110.5, like he may have had a little bit of an issue somewhere on track. That was a lap ago. Lost a bit of ground. Now 7.7 seconds behind Malukas. Still running in third. Harrison Scott just 2 seconds behind Carlos Cunha. But at this point, they're not running lap times anywhere near the battle. This is a good fight between Chris Wright and Andres Gutierrez.
And Lorini lost a lot of ground there. He was running up. That was when I think they went into turn 1, was a lap and a half ago. Just lost a ton of ground.
Yeah, he was in 8th position when Martins went by, right. Then Listoshkin went by. You have a lot of wonder, did he get pushed up into the marbles, get those tires all dirty, and then it just needed to get them cleaned off before he can go back at it. Yeah, Lorini falling down the order, a 111.9, his fast lap. He's about got to be at least a second and a bit off the best lap he's turned thus far. So Ludovico Lorini now down into the 13th position. Top 10 here with 8.5 to go, or 7 laps. Arenas VK, your leader. David Malukas in second. Carlos Cunha in third. Harrison Scott and Stingray Robb rounding out your top 5. Scott doing a good job with that broken front wing. Parker Thompson runs 6th, but he's starting to reel those drivers in as well. Parker quicker by almost a half a second from Harrison Scott. Oliver Askew in 7th, Nikita Listoshkin 8th, Rafa Martins in 9th, and Andres Gutierrez rounding out the top 10.
Boy, Harrison Scott's front wing looks like it's even worse, almost like that front left is dragging on the ground now. It was hanging on for dear life, and now looks like it's dragging as we have a machine coming to pit lane.
That's Antonio Serrabali, and the number 91 will bring his car into pit lane. I think he may be just doing a drive-through, trying to stay away from the front runners. We'll see if he actually pulls into pit lane or pulls into his stall. He may have just been getting out of the way of the leaders coming through. That was a nice call there for the young driver, Antonio Serrabali, his rookie debut weekend here. Ran the spring training event at Homestead a couple of weeks ago. He's jumping up a weight class, let's put it that way. Top driver in international and national shifter kart racing, both in Italy, in the Canada, and the U.S. But again, jumping up the Pro Mazda, big step for him. But again, he wants to make sure he keeps it off the walls, has good finishes, and I think I've been pretty proud of the way he's been able to handle himself here this weekend.
Well, this Pro Mazda race starting to resemble the Verizon IndyCar Series race. It was Robert Wickens and Alexander Rossi battling. Rossi made a mistake. Malukas was 3/10 behind VK, now a 1 second advantage for Rinus VK. So not sure what had happened to Malukas.
He's just not running the lap times he was able to run. Now, he gets back to a 109.7, but did a 110.1 last time by. You're going to try to reel in a guy like Rinus VK. You can't make those mistakes. He's just so consistent. It's a Juncos Racing entry as well. You know, they were able to win the championship last year with Victor Franzoni, so you know the level of preparation is IndyCar level. You know, similar to the IndyCar effort they have now. They know how to put a car under a driver. They won Indy Lights with Spencer Pigot a couple of years ago. They won Indy Lights last year with Kyle Kaiser. Juncos Racing knows how to win on the Mazda road to Indy, and they've got themselves a good driver here in Rinus VK this year. Rinus leading their way down into turn number 10. 20 laps now in the books, 5 to go, 6 minutes remaining. We may be able to sneak this thing in. We may be able to get all 25 laps despite a bit of the chaos we had at the start of the session. Again, out of 14. Little bit of wheel spin, I think, for VK. Car rotated a little bit there as he got back on power. And again, both drivers. Last time by was a 109.7. This time a 109.7 again for VK. Charles Finelli back down pit lane in the number 83.
Now Harrison Scott and Stingray Robb, great battle now into turn number 1. Stingray around the outside, Scott to the inside. Scott closes the door.
Full course yellow. Not sure what happened on the racetrack, but full course yellow. The AMR safety vehicle rolling. Chris Wright, we're being told. Chris Wright, the number 78, falling down the order. 5 minutes to go. This one could be over. There's Paul Blevins giving the double yellow, full course yellow on the racetrack. 5 minutes to go in Pro Mazda. 4 laps in total. We're not going to go 25 laps total. We're going to go on the time.
Let's hope it's not a big incident where we have a lot of cleanup, that we can just get Chris Wright off the circuit and go back to green, and we'll see if David Malukas give him one more shot at Rinus VK. And then Carlos Cunha's there. That's probably the last thing David Malukas wants to see.
Is that at the outside of turn number 9, Michael?
Yep.
Outside of turn 9, the double apex left-hander that leads onto the straightaway that comes back at us. The AMR safety crew jumping out there quickly. There's a big piece of wing.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So it looks to me like some kind of contact for Chris Wright.
Was it a wing, or did they maybe have a starter or something? They were trying to get him started.
Well, we'll see. If it fires up and he pulls away, we'll see. We're not getting a good shot of it here. That's kind of one of the blind spots of the cameras, really over top of the camera, that it comes through turn number 8 and 9.
And even if they shoot from turn 9, it's just past that apex where you can't really see what's happening.
So indeed, the issue on track for Chris Wright in the BN Racing number 78. He falls down now to what will be 14th in the order. See if they get Antonio Serrabali back on the racetrack. Indeed they are. He'll move up to 13th. Chris Wright back into 14th.
How crazy would this be if we had to go green again? After all we've been through the front end of this race, to go green one more time, I can't even predict what would happen.
Didn't we see something like this in the Verizon IndyCar Series
something
race?
like this may have happened.
We will go green this time by, being told. So,
of course we will.
of course. And as they work their way around, there's probably going to be, where are we here coming through, Michael?
I'd say we'll have 2 solid laps, potentially 3 before this is over.
Here we go. Rinus VeeKay had done a fantastic job because David Malukas had put pressure on midway through the race, was laying down lap times about 1/10 of a second quicker. At one point was a full second back, but he got it down to less than 1/2 a second. And then I think he just peaked. He kind of, the setup kind of pinnacled, and he wasn't able to do anything. You plateau there with the speed you have. Sometimes you overcook on the tires a little bit. These drivers have to take care of the tires. And I just think he kind of plateaued. There was just not enough speed there for him to close back up on VeeKay. And again, VeeKay was able to respond. As we come back around, they'll come through turn number 10. We're going to be down to right around the 2:15 when we go back to green. Probably 2 laps, maybe 3. Here we go. Rinus VeeKay is going to have to defend on the restart. David Malukas is going to get his best shot in this Pro Mazda race, the second end of the doubleheader. This will be the shot that David Malukas was hoping for. Had that not been for the yellow, I think VeeKay would have ran it through to the end. Here we go. Parker Thompson trying to get a big run here as well. They'll come onto the front straightaway. Green flag flying. We're underway. Fantastic start for VeeKay, but look further back. Stingray Robb able to get by Harrison Scott. Here comes Parker Thompson to the bottom. Scott will lock it up. Stingray Robb through, as does, I believe, Parker Thompson cleaning through as well. So add Stingray Robb holding on to 4th. Thompson able to get by Harrison Scott. Parker Thompson to P5.
Looks like Nikita Scotia is trying to do the same thing, get around Harrison Scott. Potentially that wing just failing to the point where Harrison Scott can't hang on anymore. Looked like Nikita Listoshkin right behind. Wow, a nice wiggle there from Stingray Robb. Good save from him. And look at Carlos Cunha on the charge.
Did you see that save for Stingray? That car just jumped out on him coming through turn number 7 over to turn 8. Great save for Stingray. He holds it underneath him. But you're right. Carlos Cunha says, hey, I want second. I'm going to come after you. And away we go. Drivers work their way through turn 10. There it is. VeeKay, Malukas, Cunha. Gap back to Stingray Robb. And then Parker Thompson, P5. Final minute on the racetrack. Let's have a look down. Yeah, white flag this time by. Paul Blevins will give him the whites. This is it. One more lap. Malukas not close enough to do anything. Lineup pretty much static as they come by the start-finish line. VeeKay, Malukas, Cunha, Robb, and Thompson, your top 5. Askew in 6th. Harrison Scott falling all the way down the order. He'll lock it up again coming into turn number 1. I think that wing is almost gone off of Harrison Scott, Michael. You called it. The damaged wing starting to make things happen here. It really kind of messing it up for Harrison Scott.
We'll see what happens with Carlos Cunha. I think if we're going to see any battle here at the end of the race for this podium, it might be a switch for 3rd and 2nd. Carlos Cunha, last time by, just a half a second behind David Malukas. Oh, wow, David Malukas with a great run out of turn number 9. He now closes in on Rinus VeeKay.
This is it. This is it. We are going to see the checker flag this time by Rinus VeeKay trying to sweep the weekend here in Pro Mazda. A couple of victories before they head to Barber Motorsports Park in mid-April. The young Dutch driver, second last year of the USF 2000 Championship. Nothing coming from David Malukas. It's back-to-back jacks for the Uncos racing driver, Rinus VeeKay, victorious on the streets of St. Petersburg. David Malukas in 2nd, Carlos Cunha 3rd, Stingray Robb 4th, 5th is Parker Thompson, 6th, Oliver Askew, 7th, Nikita Listoshkin. 8th is Andres Gutierrez. 9th, Rafa Martins. 10th, James Raven. 11th, Lodovico Lorini. And 12th position, the damage to that car is too much. In fact, no front wing whatsoever. Yeah. There's no wing at all on the front now. And that, of course, your balance is gone. He tries to dive into turn number 1 with 0 front downforce. No surprise he was locking those fronts up.
But that said, a heck of a job keeping control of that car for Harrison Scott. That damage, that caution, just enough to wiggle that front wing loose, but fantastic job. Your winner, back-to-back, Rinus VeeKay, race 1 and 2. David Malukas will come home in 2nd, and Carlos Cunha will come home 3rd.
Great run for Rinus VeeKay and a solid run for Malukas and Cunha. This championship looking very good here in Pro Mazda, but again, back-to-back wins for Rinus VeeKay.
Rinus VeeKay, Rinus, congratulations. Tell me about the start of that race first, including that restart.
Well, It was a little bit chaotic. So in the last turn, we already got green, and the front row didn't expect it, including me. And everyone got by, and I think the series saw it as a mistake, and they let us restart, what was very nice from them, and otherwise I would not have won. Yeah, that's...
All right, and then talking about the level of competition here in Pro Mazda, 2 races down already. You've got both wins, but that sure hasn't come very easily.
Yeah, it's amazing how high this level is. It's top drivers from Europe, it's top drivers from America. It's just, I think, one of the most, the highest level in the world where we're driving here. And I couldn't beat all those guys without the help of my team, Junkos Racing. They got the car great for the whole race in the long run, and the tire pressures, everything was perfect.